Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Thomas, and I discuss my near-death experience, the things I learned, and the things I think you should know. So today I thought I would synthesize some of my YouTube videos into one and bring together a lot of what I've been talking about in my other videos into one YouTube. So too much occurred during my near-death experience to ever discuss it all. But there are 7 of the most important things that I was shown that I think you should know. So I'm going to be reading from my notes, so if it sounds scripted or I'm looking away, that's why. So I have my cup of tea, I have my notes, so let's begin. So the first thing I want to share with you that I was shown by my angels that you need to know is that you are an immortal being and you don't really die. I was shown that there is a sort of hybrid system between what Christianity teaches and a process of reincarnation. So heaven is more of a resting place than a place you would spend eternity. At least that's what I saw. To me, heaven seemed kind of boring, to be quite honest. And besides that, my idea of heaven would be spending eternity with my love and with my guardian angel, Sarah, one of the angels that showed up for me. So she was the only angel that communicated with me and the one that made me feel safe. As she was patient and explained everything to me as it happened. Learning that we are immortal really changed my outlook on life and helped me to get over my fear of dying. I think for most people, they don't so much fear the process of dying, the physical process, but rather fear that this is it and the fear of the unknown aspects of the afterlife. Although I made Sarah promise that I could come back before we left the emergency room prior to my near-death experience really beginning, when I saw that we are immortal, I wanted to come back to share what I had seen and that we don't really die. So it is a message that I think everyone should hear. Because my near-death experience was more real than real, and because of how it happened, I am certain that we don't die. The next thing that I wish for you to know, and probably just as important, is that Jesus is real and he really did die for our sins. So before I met with him in heaven, I was shown his crucifixion. I believe I was really there for Jesus' crucifixion because of the look of surprise and pain on his face when he saw me there before the cross. It was like he suddenly saw me and he was really surprised that I was there. I was also shown that one can move forward and backward through time, at least on the other side, which makes me believe that, again, I really was there for his crucifixion. Like the rest of my near-death experience, the crucifixion was more real than real, which, again, also furthers my belief that I was really there. I mean, why else would Jesus have such a look of surprise on his face? I mean, I didn't imagine it. Since my near-death experience, I have continued to have dreams and visions of Jesus and have learned to communicate with him like I communicate with my angels, and just like you can do. So we all have a powerful connection to him. We just have to develop our relationship with him. So then the first thing and that brings me to my next point, and really it was the first thing that I saw during my near-death experience, and that is that angels are real. So 3 angels showed up riding clouds on a chariot from a pinpoint of rainbow light in the emergency department room, getting bigger and bigger until they were life-size. In my research since my NDE, I've learned that everyone has 2 to 4 guardian angels, and for me it was 3. It was a young man in his 20s named Joshua that had black spiky hair and wore a white Adidas-like sports suit, and as well as a man in his mid-60s that had a leathery face with deep wrinkles and curly gray hair. And I've since come to believe it was my grandfather. So he had a scowl on his face as if he wasn't happy to be there, or he wasn't happy about uh, the how my near death experience was happening, and because I was basically out of my mind. Um, so, although I'm not sure it was my grandfather, because I've since learned that his name was Samuel. So the two men did not communicate with me. Then there was a young woman in her late teens or early 20s, and she was the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen. She had the most gorgeous curly black hair that went down to her mid back and an olive complexion, and was wearing a long white gown that was the purest white that I'd ever seen. It shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow and was flowing as if moved by some unseen current of water. She was the only one that communicated with me, and communicated with me through something like telepathic means. Her name is Sarah, which means princess in Hebrew, and it's a totally fitting name. I mean, she's a princess in my mind. Her and I stopped at this planet on our journey, and it was a light blue planet with wisps of white clouds. And I've since come to recognize it as Neptune, or a planet that looks just like Neptune. She showed me this place while we were there that looked like a larger version of Crater Lake that had a pyramid-shaped island. We hovered over the water, and as we hovered, it left ripples on the water like a helicopter might. I remember I asked her a question while we were there, and I don't remember what I asked her, but for some reason her white gown turned into a wool or hemp hand-woven, one-piece, tan-colored garment. I remember feeling in love with her before her clothes changed, but the simple garment that she changed into all of a sudden really humanized her, and I fell even deeper in love with her. At that point, we shot back into space and headed towards heaven. So the next thing that I was shown that I would like you to know is that we are all psychic. Though I don't like the term psychic because of the negative connotations that come with it, it best describes the abilities that we all possess as humans. We all have a powerful intuition and third eye and extrasensory perceptions. It is just a matter of learning to hone those abilities. So we are all connected to all that is and to the other side, but few of us realize it and utilize these extrasensory gifts. Our psychic gifts are closely linked to our imagination, and so often we know things, but we write them off as our imaginations. I believe we start to lose these gifts as children when we stop using our imaginations and start going through the education system. We can learn to communicate with Jesus, with our angels, our spirit guides, and even with lost loved ones. It is just a matter of believing in our own abilities and then working on them until we begin getting results. And that brings me to my next point. I was shown that we are all connected to all that is. On the other side, we have access to all that ever was, is, and will ever be. Time does not exist or is incredibly slowed down, and it is not linear like it is here. Anything that we wish to know is just a thought away. At the same time as I was traveling across the universe with my angels, I was also in this black void and was being shown advanced mathematics and physics. I was shown how life and existence works. I saw this existence, our universe, as a bubble in a vast dark ocean. I saw the end of the world, which was incredibly traumatic for me when I came back from my near death experience. I was sure that the world was going to end any day and felt this incredible urge to share what I had seen with the powers that be in this world and to tell them that the world was about to end. I saw the poles of the earth violently flipping and there being a huge tidal wave that would wipe out all of existence. For weeks after my near death experience, I slept with my head facing the direction I thought that the earth was going to violently change direction of rotation, and would have dreams and visions of huge tidal waves wiping out humanity. The next thing I was shown is that this physical existence isn't real life. It is the other side where true life exists. The other side is where we are infinite beings and where life is more real than real. The more I think about my near-death experience, the more I realize it makes sense that real life wouldn't be a physical existence. I mean, why would it be? All of life is energy and vibration, but physical existence cannot be infinite. All physical life eventually dies, but energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And that brings me to my final point. We come here to learn and to become godlike. Earth serves as a sort of spiritual classroom. Some souls prefer a more challenging experience in order to learn more quickly, while others prefer more comfortable lives and learn at a slower pace. I was shown that the more money we have, the slower we learn to be godlike. The healthier we are, the slower we learn, etc. So this is not a judgment, as we all end up in the same place eventually, as long as we follow our moral compass. We are all on a journey of enlightenment and on a journey back to God. Part of that journey is finding the other half of our souls, which goes back to the Adam and Eve story. For me, I was lucky to have been introduced to Sarah, otherwise I would still be in the dark as to who is the other half of my soul. So I hope this has been helpful, or at least entertaining. If you have any questions or would like me to clarify anything, please leave a comment and let me know. I am still unraveling my near-death experience and the great mystery, so I appreciate your kind words and your support. Sarah and I decided I would come back to share with you what I'd been shown, so thank you for your part in helping me to fulfill my soul's mission. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. From Sarah and I, much love and light. Namaste.